Hello there, I'm Ryan Liberty, and in this video I'm going to explain my experience with intrusive thoughts.
Ooh, ah.
Okay, so let's talk about what my experience has been with intrusive thoughts. So intrusive thoughts, I've done a video on them if you don't know what they are, but very briefly, they're very inappropriate thoughts that come into your head very quickly, very jarringly, and they are very frustrating and confusing, and they kind of like disrupt your emotional world. So for me, I've had these thoughts in two main ways, but before I get into those, I will say I've had a lot of intrusive thoughts throughout my life, and some of them are so inappropriate and kind of embarrassing that I don't even want to talk about them here, to be honest, so I'm not going to. But I've had like very inappropriate sexual intrusive thoughts, things with intimate people, friends and family and animals, and like totally not appropriate at all, but that's what intrusive thoughts are. They're inappropriate and they're confusing, and that has nothing to do with your personal urges or anything. They just come out of nowhere. And the reason why I'm at least willing to say as much as I just said already is because I want to shine light on that, yeah, there are some really weird thoughts that pop into your head, and they don't really make sense, and they're not really connected to anything. So if you're experiencing that, you're not alone. It does happen. But let's talk about the two main ways that I've seen them show up in my life. So one of the ways that intrusive thoughts have shown up for me is when I'm driving. And very often, it doesn't happen as much anymore. Let me just say, where I am at today in my life, I don't get a lot of intrusive thoughts. But there was a long period where when I would drive, I would have these thoughts of just like turning the wheel and crashing into a divider or crashing into a tree or stepping on the gas and crashing into the person in front of me. Or I'd have thoughts that a rock was going to come flying through my windshield and hit me, or a tree was going to fall on the car, or a traffic light was going to fall on the car. So very like violent kind of thoughts, very destructive, aggressive, frightening. And when you have that kind of a thought while you're driving, it's like all of a sudden your anxiety shoots up and you start to wonder, am I going to crash? Because now I've got this weird thought going in my head and you don't really know why you had it. And you're wondering, like, if that thought can jar me so much, am I going to actually hit the divider? Thankfully, that's never happened. I never acted on any of those thoughts, and nothing has happened. So that just shows you that although the intrusive thoughts are very frightening and they're very difficult to experience, they don't have to make an actual change in the world. You don't have to react to them. Nothing actually has to happen. So that's one way they've happened. They've shown up in my life when I have been driving. And it's very frustrating because when you're driving, you are responsible for your life, the life of the people in the vehicle you're in, and the lives of the people around you. So it's very upsetting to think that you could have these thoughts in that kind of situation. The other way that they've shown up in my life is just day to day. Usually at home, actually. I'd be sitting at home and I'd feel like a gunshot was going to come through the wall and hit me, or somebody was going to come through the door and attack me, or I'd be out in public and I'd feel like a gunshot was going to come at me, or a knife was going to hit me. A lot of times I'd feel like somebody was behind me and they were just going to like tackle me or do something to me. And again, there was no reason for me to believe that any of these things were going to happen. There was one instance in my life that involved a gun where I guess I could have set some of this off, but this was not PTSD. These were very irrational thoughts. Like, nobody ever shot a gun at me through a wall, and how would they know exactly where I was sitting? But these thoughts would happen, and they'd be very frightening, and my whole day would kind of be disrupted sometimes because my anxiety would shoot up with this fear of, like, why am I having this thought? Is somebody going to hurt me? Now, naturally, like I said, there was no reason for me to believe that anybody was going to hurt me. These thoughts are always irrational, and they always just kind of, they're just these frustrating, annoying things that kind of happen, but they feel so real and they feel so threatening that it felt like, oh my god, like, now I have to worry about if somebody's going to shoot a gun at me, even though it didn't make any sense to. So that's the other way that it's kind of manifested in my life. As I've said, intrusive thoughts are not all violent. They can be religious and persecutory, like you could feel like Satan's watching you, or you could feel sexual thoughts. I've had a lot of those actually too. I just don't feel comfortable talking about them. Sexual thoughts towards people in your life. People, maybe if you're straight, then you have sexual thoughts towards gay people. If you're gay, sexual thoughts towards straight people that feel very unnatural, and it's not linked to your genuine sexuality. It's just this kind of like weird thing that happens when you're talking to somebody, or it's really hard to describe intrusive thoughts, but yes, you can have sexually intrusive thoughts, violent ones, and they all have kind of showed up in one way or another in my life. But as I've said, I don't experience them very often anymore. I'll have them every now and then. I think it's pretty normal for everybody to have them. But they can resolve. They can go away. So I just want to give you that little bit of hope there and encourage you to examine how intrusive thoughts are showing up in your life. And I'm glad that you wanted to hear about my experience. So go ahead and learn more here on my channel about it. Thanks for watching. Hey, it's Ryan Liberty. If you liked that video, please give it a thumbs up, share with a friend, and leave any questions or comments below, because that would really help me out. If you find that you're stressed trying to achieve your goals, I have a free tool for you today that will help you get your goals done, so click to get that. And if you'd like to see the rest of my videos, click subscribe. As always, I want to remind you that your life matters. Nobody can question your worth. However it is that you're feeling, whatever it is that you're going through, it's okay, and you are loved. Thanks again for watching.